As soon as my husband died, my children wanted to send me to a nursing home, but they brought my husband's first love back home. My son said, "Mom, Dad's will left the house to Aunt Xie. Aunt Xie is like our own mother, and we have the obligation to support her." My daughter said, "Mom, Aunt Xie knows better how to raise children than you do. The nursing home is the best place for you." I couldn't catch my breath in one go, and I was so furious I could have died. Only after death did I realize that my husband and children had long betrayed me. In their eyes, there was only Xie Meiling. They despised me for being old, rustic, and useless. Every year, during the family outings, they deliberately excluded me but secretly took Xie Meiling along. I died with great resentment. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time before my husband discovered his cancer was in its late stage. This time, I want nothing to do with the scumbag husband or the ungrateful children. For the rest of my life, I only want to live for myself. Mom, we'll be home by 5 this afternoon. Hurry and go to the market to buy the dishes we love. Everything must be ready before we get home. Before I could respond, the call was already disconnected. I tightly gripped my phone and looked up at the calendar. I was instantly overwhelmed with shock. I had actually been reborn. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, trying to accept this reality. But as soon as I closed my eyes, the suffocating feeling of being betrayed by my husband and stabbed in the back by my children overwhelmed me, and I broke down crying. That day was the 7th day after Ash Zhao's death, and I was sorting through his belongings at home. Unexpectedly, I found a photo album inside a box he never let me touch. The photos in the album looked like family portraits, but I was the only one missing. Yet there was another woman. Her silver hair was ashen, her smile like a spring breeze. She carried an elegant aura, dressed in a skirt that fully displayed a fashionable posture. She was no one else but Ash Zhao's unattainable first love in his youth, the radiant Xie Meiling. I felt a wave of confusion and anger. Looking closely at the dates on each photo, they happened to be the times of the family's annual group trips. But every year, I would suddenly have a stomach upset right before departure, causing me to miss the trip. Who exactly is deliberately keeping me from going? Is it my husband, or is it my children? I was full of doubts when my children came back. "Mom, hurry up and pack your things. I'll take you to the nursing home." What do you mean? Why should I go to a nursing home? I questioned Zhao Chengyu. His face darkened, and he threw me a document. "This is Dad's will, which clearly states that this house is gifted to Aunt Xie. If it weren't for Aunt Xie tutoring us when we were kids, how could we have gotten into college? A teacher for a day is a mother for life. Aunt Xie is like our own mother, and we have an obligation to support her." I covered my chest and pointed at my son. "She is your biological mother, so what does that make me? Of course, you are still our mom. Just that you need to live somewhere else." I turned my head away in disappointment and looked at my daughter, hoping she would stand up for me. But she said, "Mom, Aunt Xie has a higher education than you and knows better how to raise children. The nursing home is the best place for you. You all." My heart felt like it was shattered by a heavy hammer, aching so much I could hardly breathe. I painstakingly cared for my husband through day and night as he battled late-stage cancer. But he had already made a will, leaving the house we lived in together to his old lover. The heartlessness of my children blurred my eyes with tears. Disappointment overwhelmed me like a tide, making me feel as if I were in darkness. I couldn't catch my breath. I fell to the ground, and I actually died of anger. At the moment I closed my eyes, I heard them say, "Bad luck." The harsh knocking pulled me back from the painful memories of my past life. I opened the door and saw, it was their whole family returning. Just like every year, they unloaded their luggage and told me to organize it, while they eagerly rushed to the dining room. In less than a second, Zhao Chengyu shouted, "Mom, where's the food? You didn't cook," I said with a cold face. "Yes, I didn't cook." My son's face darkened, and he said angrily, "Why didn't you cook? You clearly had so much time to prepare. Are you trying to starve all of us?" "I just don't want to cook. Is that not allowed?" Sensing my anger, they all looked at me with strange expressions. "Mom, what medicine did you take wrong? You're so angry." I laughed angrily. "Yes. I took the wrong medicine. I took out Ash Zhao's treasured photo album and threw it on the ground. I stared at him and demanded loudly, "Ash Zhao, you always take Xie Mai Ling with you on your summer vacations every year. What exactly do you take me for?" Ash Zhao, usually as steady as a rock, showed a flustered expression. He quickly picked up the photo album, dusted it off, and held it close to his chest like a treasure. He was clearly displeased. "Who allowed you to enter my study? Who allowed you to touch my things?" I looked up and laughed twice, holding back my tears. "Ash Zhao, you deliberately swapped my motion sickness pills for laxatives, purposely preventing me from traveling, so you could take Xie Mai Ling to explore the mountains and rivers together." Ash Zhao instantly felt guilty and turned his head, not daring to look at me. "Mom, when did you find out?" Zhao Chengyu said, quickly covering his mouth after speaking. I originally wanted to test Ash Zhao, but unexpectedly, I saw guilt rather than surprise on everyone else's faces. It turned out that everyone knew the motion sickness medicine was actually a laxative. It turns out that no one wanted me to follow. The chill and disappointment turned into a sharp knife, piercing every cell in my body. My daughter tried to smooth things over. "Mom, don't be angry." I glared at her, not angry. "Do you expect me to be grateful that you gave me laxatives?" The son said impatiently. "Mom, Aunt Xie treats me and my sister like her own children and tutors us unconditionally. She has done us a huge favor. It's only right that we take her on a trip. Can you please stop making unreasonable fuss?" Ash Zhao and Zhao Huimin's expressions clearly showed that they agreed with Zhao Chengyou's words. I was so angry that my whole body trembled. All right, from now on, Xie Mai Ling is your real mom. If you want to eat, go ask her to cook." I turned around and went back to my room, quickly tidied up my things, and came out. "Ash Zhao, let's get a divorce." Liliana Liu, "It's just a trip. Is it really necessary? Next time we'll take you along. You're 57 years old. Don't be ridiculous. Put down your luggage and hurry up to cook. Exactly. My children chimed in beside me. Aunt Xie has no children of her own, and we were worried she might be depressed, so we took her on this trip. We were doing a good deed. Mom, stop messing around. Go cook quickly. The whole family is almost starving. Am I being unreasonable? Heh. Isn't giving birth to and raising them a blessing? Am I supposed to unconditionally give to them by nature? On what grounds? I am a person, not their slave. At this moment, I truly thank heaven for letting me be reborn, for allowing me to see clearly the true ungrateful faces of those ingrates. I shook off Ash Zhao's hand and glared at him. "I'm not messing around. I am definitely divorcing this marriage." Perhaps because I have always been obedient to them. When I suddenly lost my temper, they thought I was abnormal. "Dad, let Mom go." Zhao Chengyu completely lost his patience. "She's an uneducated old woman from the countryside. If she leaves, where else can she go? She'll just wander around outside and come back." Exactly. Mom is already 57, an elderly person who's useless to society, can only cook at home. If she doesn't cook, we can just order takeout. The earth won't stop spinning without her. My heart grew colder and colder. When I opened the door, my grandson suddenly called out to me, "Grandma, are you really going to leave?" From the moment my grandson was born, I have almost raised him by myself, pouring a lot of love into him. I want to tell him, "Be good, I will come back to see you," but before I could say a word, I saw him excitedly clapping his little hands. "Great, the beautiful grandma can come live at my house." Grandpa, Dad, Mom, and Auntie all don't like grandma. They say grandma is old-fashioned. I don't like grandma either. Grandma is mean. She doesn't let me eat candy. Pretty grandma buys me candy and ice cream. I like pretty grandma the most. I scanned everyone in the room. At first, they all looked guilty, but soon they regained their calm and composure. It is clear that they often belittle me behind my back like this. Very well, I can leave without any regrets now. That's right, your beautiful grandmother will soon move here to live. I dragged my suitcase and temporarily stayed at a nearby hotel. Through the window, I gazed at the myriad of lights in countless homes. Memories of the past unconsciously surfaced in my mind. Back then, my family lived right next door to Ash Zhao's house. I, little Ash Zhao, was 3 years old and admired this hard-working older neighbor from a very young age. I knew he had dated Xie Mai Ling. That year, my village chief uncle joyfully welcomed a grandson and hosted a banquet for the villagers. Ash Jiao's father, who was addicted to alcohol, drank a lot. On the way home, he accidentally fell and broke his leg. His mother had always been in poor health and stayed at home to recuperate. The whole family suddenly lost their source of income, and Ash Jiao had to stop school and start working. Xie Meiling broke up with me at this time and moved to the provincial capital with her family. Originally, I had the opportunity to continue my studies, but I don't know how Ash Jiao found out that I was interested in him. He even took the initiative to propose to marry me. I was truly love-struck at the time. Even when my family told me that he married me just so I could take care of his sick parents, I still married him without hesitation. I knew his thirst for education, so I gave him all my dowry to retake the exam. He worked hard and was admitted to the best university in the province. Faced with the high tuition fees, he wanted to give up, but I encouraged him not to quit. As for the tuition and living expenses, I would find a way. I set up a wonton stall on the street, relying on this stall. I not only helped Ash Jiao graduate without any burden but also took care of my in-laws with dignity. But after all, I only have 2 hands. I can manage the business but can't take care of 2 children, and their academic performance is very poor. That was the most critical time for Ash Jiao to become a university teacher, and he couldn't help the children with their homework. Ash Jiao went to a training center to find a teacher. Unexpectedly, he reunited with Xie Meiling. Xie Meiling was not doing well. Her family lost all their property gambling, and right after graduation, her father married her off in exchange for a bride price. She married an abusive man who beat her to the point that she became infertile, which led to a lawsuit for divorce. I sent my children to her for tutoring, and their grades did improve. I am very happy and often invite her to our home for meals. At the dining table, my children always precisely served Xie Meiling the dishes she liked. Looking back now, when she and Ash Jiao exchanged glances, their eyes were unusually strange. A pair of old scoundrels, an old scoundrel man and woman, were secretly exchanging glances right under my nose, and I was completely unaware. I even kept treating Xie Meiling as a good older sister. I really was blind and foolish. Having lived for 57 years, I feel like I've wasted my life. I don't know how many years I have left, but I'm sure I don't want to live such a miserable life anymore. I want to get divorced as soon as possible and take what I rightfully deserve. As for those ungrateful wretches, since they chose Xie Meiling, then let their whole family go be happy. Ash Jiao has already been diagnosed with terminal cancer. It was only a matter of time before it was discovered. In this life, don't even think about making me serve you again. I found a divorce lawyer, and with her help, first went to register the divorce, then sent the divorce agreement to Ash Jiao. In less than a day, Ash Jiao called me. Liliana, are you really going to divorce me? Please don't be stubborn. Okay, Meiling and I have always been innocent. If you want to travel, I'll take you right now. Just the 2 of us. I snorted coldly. Whether you're innocent or not, you know it yourself. As for traveling, I can go by myself. I signed up for a tour group. At this moment, I am sitting on the high-speed train heading to Shanghai. I heard that it is the most prosperous and fashionable place in the country. I have served a whole family for most of my life, yet all I got in return were the words nonsense. For the remaining days, I just want to be myself and live for myself. Ash Jiao, stop calling me with useless calls. I just want a divorce from you now, so hurry up and sign the papers. I hung up the phone and blocked him. Less than a minute later, my daughter Zhao Huimin called me first. Mom, how can you bring up divorce at a time like this? You know I'm not married yet. If others find out our family is not harmonious, I'll lose face in the matchmaking market. If I marry into a bad family, it will all be your fault. I didn't reply to her at all. I just hung up and blocked her. But just as I hung up, Zhao Chengyu called me. I expected he wouldn't say anything nice, but I still wanted to hear what even harsher words he might say. Mom, are you crazy? Talking about divorce with Dad, what exactly do you want to do? Are you trying to disgrace both Dad and me? If you leave us, what will you eat and drink? Are you going to sell wontons on the street? Do you think you're still young? Do you have that kind of stamina? I angrily asked. Zhao Chengyu, don't forget, it was me who raised you by selling wontons. Without my wontons, your dad wouldn't have been able to go to college, and you would have starved to death long ago." On the other end of the phone, Zhao Chengyu was silent for a moment, then said, "So what? That doesn't change the fact that you were despicable back then, breaking up my dad and Aunt Xie, who were truly in love. If it weren't for you, Aunt Xie would be our real mother." "What did you say? That I broke them up? Isn't that true? Aunt Xie has long said that when you liked my dad, you had your uncle, the village chief, deliberately get Grandpa drunk, causing Grandpa to break his leg while walking at night and lose his ability to work. That's why the Xie family opposed my dad and Aunt Xie's relationship. So what if my sister and I like Aunt Xie even more? She is well educated and sensible, she has vision and wisdom. Unlike you who only knows how to peel garlic and kill fish, quibbling over a penny selling cardboard. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Dad is a university professor. Do we really need that penny?" I am calm inside, no longer feeling sad or disheartened by their insults towards me. I don't want to explain anything either. After all, they will always only believe what they want to believe. Since I disgust you so much, then you should be the one to urge your dad to sign the papers quickly, so that you, Xie Meiling, won't become the shameful third party. After speaking, I hung up the phone and blocked him. A wonderful journey shouldn't be spoiled by a few scumbags. Shanghai truly did not disappoint me. Towering skyscrapers, dazzling fashion, and the bustling scene of endless traffic brought a shock, as if entering a dreamland full of infinite possibilities. The people here, regardless of age or gender, are full of vitality. The guide was very approachable, leading our group to discover many things we had never seen before and taste foods we had never tried. I joined the Sunset Tour group, where the members are about my age and come from all walks of life, although they are also elderly. Their minds are not old, they said. Who says we are useless when we get old and can only stay at home to take care of grandchildren? We may not be the morning sun, but we can be the most beautiful sunset. We learn as long as we live. As long as life remains, there are infinite possibilities in life. I had a pleasant time communicating with them. They never looked down on me for being old-fashioned or uneducated. They made me feel like I found myself again. I don't need to give unconditionally to anyone, I only need to live for myself. Whether I am useful depends on the value I define for myself, not on the criticism of others. After staying in Shanghai for 3 days, the tour guide took us to Wuzhen and Shaixing. The scenery in Jiangnan is truly enchanting. I changed into a traditional costume and took a series of artistic photos. The photographer was very skilled, making me look like an ancient noble lady, dignified and graceful. I am very satisfied. I posted the photos on my Moments and received likes from my friends. Before long, the ungrateful family all started sending me messages. "Liliana, at your age, wearing skirts really doesn't suit you. Change it. Also, have your fun and come back. We will forgive your reckless behavior." I replied, "I dress however I want, none of your business. Also, I don't need your forgiveness. Mom, the handsome guy next to you is so good looking. Help me get his WeChat ID, I replied. "I am not your slave, Mom. You ordered a whole table of dishes by yourself. Can you finish it? Can you spend less? I have mortgage pressure," I replied. "I'm spending my own money. What does your mortgage have to do with me? I have lived frugally all my life and have indeed saved quite a bit of money. My son lacks the ability, so I help pay a little every month. I also saved a dowry for my daughter, but now, I just want to keep my money on myself." The reason why Xie Meiling can still maintain a fashionable appearance at this age is precisely because she doesn't have to worry about anything. She spends money on herself and beautifies herself however she wants. Even dancing a square dance can attract countless old men to praise. I also blocked them on WeChat. After that, I signed up for another tour group and went to the capital I had been longing for, Beijing. I am old, but my stamina is not inferior to young people. I visited the Forbidden City, the Summer Palace, and the Badaling section of the Great Wall in Beijing. I am holding a small national flag in my hand, waving it, and asking passers-by to take a photo of me. I want to keep my most beautiful smile, to keep the most wonderful memories. Traveling is truly a wonderful thing. No wonder they go traveling every year. I used to be foolish too. If they didn't take me, couldn't I just go by myself? I had to foolishly stay at home. Making a table full of their favorite dishes, waiting for them to come back and then helping them pack. From now on, let Xie Meiling cook and do the tidying up. I played for almost a month. I'm back. I ran into Xie Meiling right after getting off the plane. Xie Meiling was dressed in a water blue dress, wearing a small veil on her head, a pink-yellow flower pinned to her chest, carrying a delicate little handbag, looking every bit like a wealthy matron. Her well-maintained face gave no indication that she was already 60 years old. At most, one would think she was only 50. She invited me to a cafe near the airport. I'm not used to coffee, so I ordered a juice. Liliana, you really misunderstood me and Ash, although we dated in the past. Now we are just friends who get along well. I see you've been traveling for a month already. You should hurry back home. Taking care of the kids and cooking is the true reflection of your life's value. She raised her hand to tuck the stray hair behind her ear, deliberately revealing the diamond earrings by her ear and the gold bracelet on her wrist. I immediately recognized that the earrings and gold bracelet were both gifts from Ash Zhao. At that time, it was only a week before my birthday, and I secretly saw these two items in his drawer. I was extremely happy, but on my birthday, Ash Zhao didn't give me anything. I confronted him directly and asked for it, but he said, "That was something a colleague wanted to give his wife, and it's temporarily stored with me. It's not suitable for you to wear while working, and you'd be upset if you lost it." Xie Meiling deliberately showed off, wanting to see me go crazy. It's useless. I don't care. How my value is reflected is none of your concern. It's actually hard for you, living for 60 years. Getting old, and yet acting like the third wheel. If your students found out, would they laugh at you behind your back? Xie Meiling used to be a teacher at a training institution. Later, because Ash Zhao became a well-known professor and met many famous people, through some maneuvering, Xie Meiling was arranged to be a teacher at the first elementary school in the city center. At her age, she still wanted to compete for the title of the most beautiful teacher in the city. Because she was the oldest contestant, she actually received a lot of attention and votes. You're the third oldest. If it weren't for me breaking up with Ash back then, what business would you have? She was angry. She was anxious. I calmly replied to her, "Then why did you break up in the first place? Wasn't it because you despised poverty, loved wealth, and feared hardship? Since we parted on good terms back then, why are you now cozying up again? You and Ash Zhao are cut from the same cloth, both despicable. Xie Meiling was furious and splashed coffee on me. I immediately poured the juice over her head and gave her a slap in the process. Xie Meiling screamed in shock, "Liliana Liu, if you want to target someone, target me. Why target Meiling? Meiling is innocent. You must apologize to her." I didn't expect Ash Zhao to arrive so perfectly on time. I looked at the juice left in the cup and without hesitation, splashed it onto Ash Zhao's face. "Ash Zhao, you are truly blind and heartless. Whether she is innocent or not, won't you check the surveillance footage? Forget it. Now is not the time to argue with him about these things. It's better that he comes to me himself, so I don't have to waste time. Have you signed the divorce agreement? I will never sign it personally. And you should stop making wild guesses about my relationship with Meiling. We both have nothing to hide." He sighed, took my hand, and said, "Liliana, you've played enough. Come home with me and settle down. Everyone at home misses the meals you cook." I snorted coldly twice. Am I some kind of pathetic person? Why should I go back and cook for a bunch of ungrateful wolves like you? I shook off his hand and took out several photos from my bag. Is this what you call being pure and innocent? In the photos, Ash Zhao was taking Xie Meiling to a jewelry store. Ash Zhao was taking Xie Meiling to a restaurant for a candlelight dinner, and there was even Ash Zhao holding Xie Meiling and kissing her. There were even more intimate photos. The two of them exclaimed and hurriedly packed away the photos to prevent others from seeing them, otherwise, both of them would lose their reputations. "Liliana Liu, you hired someone to secretly take photos of us. Secretly take photos. Don't use that term. If you hadn't been sneaking around first, how would my private detective have had the chance to capture so many exciting photos? Yes, I have been traveling recently, but it's not purely for leisure. Before I set off, I contacted a reputable private detective to help me investigate all the things Ash Zhao and Xie Meiling have been hiding from me, both past and present. The goal was to guard against Zhao Qing, that hypocrite who wants everything but drags his feet, refusing to sign. As expected, my prediction came true. Ash Zhao, I advise you to sign the divorce agreement soon and get the divorce certificate. It's better for all three of us. Otherwise, I'll post these photos online and hire a skilled writer to expose your endless, messy love story to the public. I want to see if the netizens' scorn can drown you both. Both of them showed expressions of fear, especially Xie Meiling, besides wanting to be the most beautiful elderly teacher in the province. She was also a locally famous fashionable old lady with quite a few fans, especially among old men. Several old men gave her tips amounting to tens of thousands. Once her persona collapses, the consequences will be immeasurable. Ash, what should we do? An old lover's single tear. Ash Zhao was extremely anxious. Ash Zhao, who originally came with a lowered head to persuade me to return, now looked at me with a heartbroken expression. Liliana Liu, you have really gone too far. Fine, fine. Since you want to leave, I'll let you go. Then hurry up and sign. I took out the divorce agreement from my bag, which I had stored there just in case I unexpectedly ran into him, so I could get him to sign it immediately. Seeing him sign, I nodded with satisfaction and put the divorce agreement back into my bag. As I was about to leave, I looked back at Ash Zhao, who was wiping tears from Xie Meiling's eyes, and said, in the past and even now, the clothes, bags, and various jewelry you bought for Xie Meiling were all paid for with marital assets. I demand that she return this portion of the property before we proceed with the division. Otherwise, I will file for divorce, and then the whole country will know that Xie Meiling is the other woman, and you, the great Professor Zhao, are a cheating scumbag. I smiled and walked out of the coffee shop's door, leaving behind two old faces that were both angry and upset with me. Ash Zhao cooperated fully with the subsequent divorce procedures for the sake of his white moonlight and his own dignity. Soon, the day to collect the divorce certificate arrived. That day, at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Ash Zhao wore a well-fitted suit, Xie Meiling wore a red qipao that was very festive, and the two held hands. Behind them followed my ungrateful children. Liliana, this is the choice you made yourself. If things don't go well from now on, don't have any complaints. Ash, don't say that. If Liliana ends up begging at our doorstep, we still have to give her a bite to eat. Xie Meiling threw me a victorious glance. I smiled and said, rest assured, I have no complaints. Divorcing you was the best decision I ever made in my life. Zhao Chengyu looked grim and said to me, Mom, is this the last time I'll call you that? Once Dad and you get the divorce certificate, he'll immediately marry Auntie Xie. From now on, Auntie Xie will be my real mom. And I have to be filial to her. I thought to myself, it would have been better to give birth to a piece of char siu than to have such an unfilial son. Mom, it's not that I, as your daughter, don't want to help you, it's really that you're being stubborn, refusing to keep the title of the professor's wife and insisting on struggling alone outside. If you get sick or catch a cold later and I'm not by your side, don't say I was unfilial to you. Fanpage. What kind of title is professor's wife? Just a free nanny. Also, even when they were around, did any of them show me any care when I had a fever and a cold? I still had to go to the nearby clinic to get medicine by myself. Stop talking nonsense, just get the divorce certificate. I got the divorce certificate very quickly. Before leaving, I said to them, I wish your whole family to never abandon each other no matter what hardships come. Forever locked together. After the divorce, I enrolled in a senior university, having once lost the chance to study. Now I want to make up for it. Besides loving cooking, I also enjoy painting. When I was young, my teacher said I had a talent for babbling, but unfortunately, I did not cherish it. Life at the senior university is very fulfilling, and I am happy every day. The school organized a visit for us to Beijing to watch the senior painting competition. I went. The gains were quite significant. Not only did I improve my painting skills, but I also made many like-minded friends. After returning from Beijing, I was about to share my travel experiences with my classmates. Unexpectedly, Zhao Huimin showed up at my door. Mom, Go to the hospital and see Dad. He's so pitiful. Xie Meiling is no good. Oh, isn't Xie Meiling the biological mother you and Zhao Chengyu are desperate to honor? How is she no good? I sneered. Her face turned pale and then flushed, and a second later, she burst into tears. How was I supposed to know she was so good at pretending? She cried as she told me what had happened during this time. In the beginning, they truly had a happy family, frequently posting on social media to tell everyone how fortunate they were to have a highly educated and fashionable mother. But Xie Meiling has always been someone who never touches household chores. She wouldn't cook meals for them, let alone do their laundry. They never had a warm meal at home and had to order takeout for every meal. The whole family's clothes were mixed together and thrown into the washing machine, changing color and becoming unwearable. They began to harbor resentment towards Xie Meiling in their hearts. But when Xie Meiling shed a single tear, Ash Zhao immediately felt heartache, scolding the children for being ungrateful, saying if they didn't want to live together, they should just get out. Now the house is only under Ash Zhao's name. Zhao Huimin is a spendthrift and has no means to move out. Zhao Chengyu's house is still under renovation and he can't move out anytime soon. The two had no choice but to apologize to Xie Meiling. Ash Zhao also wanted a hot meal, so he hired a nanny. But they are used to the food I make, and the nanny's cooking doesn't suit their taste. I want to hire a better nanny, but unwilling to spend more money, so I have to make do. All the adults in the family are busy with work, and Xie Meiling, a retired primary school teacher, is the most free. There's nothing much for her to do, just stay at home and watch the children. She took the child to the mall and let the child eat ice cream, but as a result, the child had a stomach upset. They were in the hospital for a whole day and night before being discharged. The daughter-in-law caused a big scene with Xie Meiling over this, and the two even came to blows. If it weren't for the men on both sides stepping in, someone might have died. Only then did they remember how good I was. After all, when I was around, there was almost no quarrel at home. Once conflicts arise and remain unresolved, they only accumulate, and the quarrels grow louder. The children can only be angry in their anger, as they truly lack the financial means to move out. Ash Zhao was also overwhelmed and frazzled, and the filter of his white moonlight had long since shattered. In just 2 short months, no matter how he looked at Xie Meiling, he found her increasingly disagreeable. But since he had married her, wanting a divorce was not easy, and he had already lost face. Xie Meiling had been beautiful all her life, proud all her life. She would never yield to anyone. If she needed to scold, she would scold. If she needed to take action, she would take action. If she needed to spend money, she would spend money. She would never wrong herself. But she was really a big spender. Ash Zhao's salary card was completely drained, so when Ash Zhao wanted to buy a gift to visit his teacher, he realized he had no money left. Yet he saw Xie Meiling had just bought a new handbag worth 50,000 yuan. His anger could no longer be contained, and he slapped Xie Meiling hard across the face twice. Xie Meiling was stunned for 2 seconds, then got up from the ground to fight Ash Zhao. As a result, Ash Zhao suddenly collapsed, clutching his chest and falling to the ground. His children, who had just finished work, discovered him and immediately took him to the hospital. It was then that they found out Ash Zhao was in the late stages of cancer, with no cure available. Hearing this, I sighed inwardly. Ash Zhao's late-stage cancer had actually manifested a whole month earlier than in his previous life. Serves you right. This is the retribution for their whole family. Xie Meiling cried her heart out, then ate and drank as usual, but refused to go to the hospital to see Ash Zhao even once. Zhao Chengyu and Zhao Huimin couldn't be as carefree as she was. That was their own old father. Not going to see him would bring criticism. Go see him, even if it means dealing with the dirty work. They find it disgusting. Hire a caregiver. It hurts to spend money. This won't do, that won't do. Of course, I thought of myself. Zhao Chengyu couldn't bring himself to come to me, so Zhao Huimin came instead. Mom, with all the years of feelings you and Dad have, you wouldn't just watch him be lonely and helpless in the hospital, you would go take care of him, right? I sneered coldly. No, Ash Zhao's life or death has nothing to do with me. You can go. Zhao Huimin was stunned, stopped crying, and her face twisted into a grimace as she accused me. Liliana Liu, you are really heartless. That was your husband. He is just my ex-husband, I retorted. I had nothing to say to her and coaxed her out. But not long after she left, Zhao Chengyu came with his grandson. I didn't let them in. Mom, you have to go to the hospital to take care of Dad. If you hadn't insisted on divorcing back then, how could Dad have married that old woman, causing unrest in our family and making Dad so angry that he ended up with terminal cancer? Mom, you can't be so heartless. Please come out quickly. Ridiculous. As long as their interests were not harmed, they were the most filial to Xie Meiling, calling her dear mother at every turn. Now they call her an old woman. So damn cheap. Seeing that I gave no response, he sent his grandson to coax me. Grandma, I miss you. Please open the door. I'm not your grandma. Go away with your dad. Mom, don't be so ungrateful. You better come with me right now, or else you'll never be allowed to leave the house for the rest of your life. If you do go out, I'll have you tied up and taken to the hospital. Zhao Chengyu, unable to achieve his goal, lost his temper and started hitting and kicking my family's door, uttering harsh words, but I had already called 110 to report him for disturbing the peace. Before long, he and his grandson were taken to the police station. My life became peaceful again, day by day. My life at the senior university grew more and more wonderful. It's just that from time to time, some of Ash Zhao's students come to persuade me to go see him. I really don't want to go, but they said Ash Zhao doesn't have much time left. After thinking about it, it is indeed very close to the day he died in his previous life. Alright, I'll just see it as accompanying him on his final journey. Arriving at the hospital, I once again walked into that ward. Ash Zhao's emaciated body, along with the furnishings in the ward, almost made me mistakenly believe I was still living in a past life. Liliana, he called weakly to me. Are you doing well now? You look more and more beautiful. I think I see the young you. At that time, although we were poor, our feelings were very good, and we were very happy, but I did not cherish it. As he spoke, he began to cry. I'm sorry. It turns out the person I love most is you. It's all because Xie Meiling confused me. She is not a woman for living a life. Wrong, I interrupted him. The person you love most is yourself. In the past, you loved yourself, so you deliberately wanted to marry me. You loved yourself, so you felt justified in going to school without doing any housework. Later, when you became a professor, you still loved yourself. You never looked up to me, so you shamelessly gave me laxatives without any guilt and shamelessly stayed with Xie Meiling. Now you love yourself even more. You fear death, and even more, you fear dying without dignity, so you think of me, wanting me to take care of you unconditionally like before. A look of shock and embarrassment appeared on his face. I snorted coldly twice and said, Ash Zhao, stop dreaming. There's no such good thing that happens to you alone in this world. Besides, we're already divorced. To me, you are just a stranger. After saying that, I turned to leave, but Ash Zhao called out to me again. Liliana, whether you believe it or not, I truly feel sorry for you. I have made a will. After I die, the house will belong to you alone. I only hope that in the next life, I can meet you again and be your husband. No, I don't care about your will. Thinking about how in my past life I worked hard to take care of him, yet he left a will giving the house to someone else. Now that I no longer take care of him, he actually wants to give the house to me. Isn't that despicable? I said, Ash Zhao, in the next life and the life after that. I never want to meet you. You make me feel sick. I never wanted to waste words with him again, so I turned and walked away. Behind me, Ash Zhao's wailing echoed. That night, Ash Zhao almost died, but he didn't. However, when the ungrateful brats and Xie Meiling heard that Ash Zhao planned to leave Fang's hand to me, they were so angry they came to cause trouble again. Especially Xie Meiling, who actually called me a homewrecker online, accusing me of cheating Ash Zhao out of his inheritance. Uninformed netizens harshly scolded me and even threw rotten eggs at my house, but I am no longer the person I used to be. Although I don't know how to fight back, I have money. I hired college students who use the internet to publish the story of my entire life online. I also bought a large number of fake accounts to aggressively control the comments. Now everyone knows that Xie Meiling is the shameless third party. Even the students she once taught have come forward to curse her. It was also revealed that Xie Meiling treated students differently during her teaching and accepted bribes. There was a huge wave of online criticism against her, and her image as the most beautiful teacher and the most fashionable elderly lady completely collapsed. If she hadn't retired, she would definitely have had her teaching license revoked and been investigated. However, she is also in a miserable state now, as rotten vegetable leaves are thrown at her whenever she goes out, so she took out all her anger on Ash Zhao. Ash Zhao, who was already on his last breath, was ultimately driven to death by sheer anger. The ungrateful children, upon hearing this, muttered, "Bad luck." Then they put on a show, crying and wailing loudly. I didn't go to Ash Zhao's funeral, because it was unlucky. More importantly, I received an invitation from a friend in Beijing to hold a senior art exhibition together. I gladly agreed and set off on the journey to Beijing once again. I just didn't expect that when I returned, their family had fallen apart, but every year, I would suddenly get a stomachache before setting off, causing me not to be able to go. After Ash Zhao died, Xie Meiling hurried to divide the inheritance as the legal wife. Although her reputation isn't very good now, years of maintenance still attract old men to pursue her. Moreover, Zhao Chengyu was now eager to kick her out. Her selfish and self-centered nature would not allow her to leave empty-handed. And how could the ungrateful children possibly let her take even a single cent? Besides, they had only been married for a short time, with no joint marital property, and Xie Meiling's excessive spending during the marriage had already drained her father's money. So, they went to court. How ironic. What did the ungrateful children say back then? If it weren't for Aunt Xie tutoring us when we were young, how could we have gotten into college? A day as a teacher, a lifetime as a mother. Aunt Xie is like our biological mother, and we have an obligation to support her. In the end, Xie Meiling could only take the clothes, bags, and jewelry bought during the marriage. Everything else was inherited by the ungrateful children. As for the will Ash Zhao left me, I didn't take it and left it to them as well. The ungrateful children quarreled over the uneven inheritance distribution, went to the court once again, finally received the portion that was rightfully mine. Unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. Zhao Chengyu fell deep into gambling, lost all his family fortune, and his daughter-in-law filed for divorce, taking their grandson away. Zhao Huimin was tricked out of all her money by a young playboy and came crying to my doorstep. Unfortunately, she didn't know that I had already stopped renting that house. I went to Beijing and was with my old sisters. We painted together and basked in the sun together. Our paintings were recognized not only by friends around us but also by foreign friends. They invited us to hold an art exhibition abroad. The principal of the senior university also invited us to be teachers. 57 is not old. My life is still continuing, as long as I want. My life can be even more wonderful.